This is episode number too many of our discussion on the Quran and the Tafsir. It has been an educational journey. I hope you guys have all benefited from this, learning just how hysterically incoherent the Quranic story really is. And the man responsible for this madness is, of course, Usama Dakdok. Welcome, Usama.
Well, first of all, once again, thank you so much, brother, for having me on. And it is my pleasure to see you suffer as we go through this journey together. Remember, I suffered a good, 12, 13 years ago to write this material down. And it was not an easy journey. But here's a fact, brother Lloyd. Here's a fact. Muslims claim you cannot understand the Quran without the great scholars of ours, like Ibn Kathir al-Tabari, al-Qurtubi, al-Jalalain, and the Makhshari, Baydawi, and all wonderful people, bunch of other names. So I decided to expose that lie in my writing for this two books, exposing the truth about the Quran, the revelation of error. To expose that you cannot be a scholar if you're a Muslim. You have to be a dumber. And you cannot be a scholar to believe in Islam. You have to be empty head. Literally, you have to set your brain aside and acknowledge nothing about reality and common sense and just follow whatever those whom you declare to be your scholar to be scholars. So this is what we are trying to prove in our writing to the writing of Ibn Kathir. Because in reality, Ibn Kathir did not give us information worth of a jack about Islam or about the stories of the Quran, except what he did is the opposite of what he advised his Muslim readers to do. He said it in very clear words at the beginning of his book, the beginning and the end, the revelation, the story of the prophets. He said, we will not use the Bible. We don't need the Bible. It's a corrupt. We may take some stuff from the Bible, which will not add or subtract anything from our books because we got the holy word of Allah. And he advised his readers, as all Muslim scholars do, not to read the Bible. When in reality, you cannot understand the Quran by just simply reading the Quran. You have to read their writings, which 100% going back to the Bible, which he does not want his Muslim readers to read, and he's adding this information once in a while, as we have seen already in volume 1, and we're going to see that also in volume 2. You cannot understand the Quran without going back to the Bible, because that is where the source of the information which Muhammad or those who helped him brought in the Quran. Obviously, that is concerning the copies of the Bibles in the Quran, but there are other materials. We know it was coming from the legend of the Jews, as in the case of the Torah, not the Torah, the Talmud and the Mishnah. That's the story. That is the story.
Right. Gnostic sources, and yeah, it's all very, very confusing. So yeah, and the Quran assumes that everyone knows the Bible, except the Quran gets all the Bible stories wrong.
Yeah,
I don't know how it can. Exactly. I don't know how it can supposedly correct the Bible when it gets the Bible stories wrong. It doesn't have all the details. It has less details. It has no detail that it can build a coherent, credible story on. So yeah, that is the issue we're dealing with.
And it's amazing that every time he found something in the Bible which fit with the general teaching of the Bible, the common core of teaching the Bible, he will emphasize that this is wrong. هذا غلط عندهم من التعريب. And he would say it is wrong because when they were translated to Arabic. No, my dear friends, the Bible was written in the Greek language, in the Septuagint. That is the 70 scholars who translate the Bible from Hebrew to Greek in Alexandria, Egypt, 300 years before Muhammad. And it have nothing to do with Arabic. The errors of the Bible is not because they mistranslated to Arabic. No, it is in the Hebrew text, which we have thousands of manuscripts. It is in the Greek text. It is in the Syriac text. It's in many other texts that have nothing to do. And the Arabic we have today is also perfect match in the translation to that which we have in the Hebrew and we have in the Greek and other languages. So he just uses, they misunderstand it. They wrote it wrong because they translated wrong. No, that's hogwash. I'm sorry. We have the original manuscript, not just the Arabic. We have the language, sorry, the original language of the manuscript, which is Hebrew and the Greek, which were written for hundreds of years before Muhammad was ever a gleam
Mhm.
in his father's eyes. And they all teach the same thing, not that which is written in the Quran. So the only book is different than all the thousands of manuscripts is the book of the Quran. And somehow Muslims are trying to tell us, oh, because the Bible has been corrupted. Yeah,
Yeah.
my
And
foot.
the Quran says that the Jews were given the gift of prophecy, no one else. So,
Sure.
of course, Muhammad was a Jew.
Yeah, must. Yeah, he must be one of the children of Israel. It makes sense. I know now. Yeah, yeah,
Yep, yep. And I read that in the Quran.
yeah, yeah. I know.
Allah wrote
Me
that.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck.
So these are very, you know what else? There's stuff in the Quran and there's stuff in the Epstein files. And do you know what's in the Epstein files? The
Yeah,
Kaaba.
I,
The
I know there's
Kaaba
pieces of. That's.
is
I
in
was
the
shocked.
Epstein files. And I found this today. This is the Kiswa cloth that was sent to Jeffrey Epstein to his island. This was 3 pieces of the Kaaba. There were 3 pieces of the Kaaba sent to Mr. Jeffrey Epstein for his mosque, as per the Jeffrey Epstein files. So he had a mosque on his island, according to his assistants, and they sent him, and this is him examining the Kiswa cloth at his house.
Man, this is a shocking news, and nobody talk about it except you. I don't know why we do not have this on CNN and MSNBC and CBS and Fox News and Real American News. I mean, is this a fake news or is this real news? And why is the media not talking about it?
I don't know. So is today. I mean,
I mean,
yeah,
as we said, there's so much similarity between that gentleman here and Muhammad as a gentleman. They both love sex, they both love young girls, and they both are good Muslims. So why not we just take it for what it is and move on with the reality that that is Islam, except in a cleaner version. It's in what do you call this? Update age. Instead of 8 or 9, we move to 14, and that's the only difference really between Epstein and Muhammad. What age can you be involved with? In what age a man can be involved with young girls? Is it 9 or is it 14? That's the only difference.
yeah, who knows why? But I just find this, Muslims really are going on about. I saw a tweet today. Someone was saying Western values, and he had Epstein with some unnamed person blacked out on the face, some young girl, and then he had a picture of Muhammad or whatever, and it said Muslim values. And you're like, yeah, well, we consider Epstein a pedophile and a criminal,
But Muslim
and
don't.
no one's happy with what he did. And of course,
But Muslim don't.
how do
They have
we,
no problem. Yeah, they have no problem to celebrate the lifestyle Muhammad gave to them. And now it is actually the law of Iraq, for example. You get 9 years old, perfect age for marriage, according to the Sunnah of the noblest example of the best man who ever walks on the face of the earth, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
yeah. Yeah, welcome, JC. I found this picture today of the Kiswa cloth sent to Mr. Jeffrey Epstein for the mosque on his island.
I wish I can read
Wow,
what's it. Can you make it big so I
sorry
can
I'm late,
see?
but
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry,
Amen.
sorry,
Mashallah.
JC.
oh, yeah, sorry I'm late. I'm finally here. So,
Yeah.
yeah, interesting. Yes, I had not seen the picture of this thing on the floor. I had heard that he was using it
Can you flip
as
it over?
that.
Lloyd, can you flip
Very
it over?
interesting.
Or you have no options? I want to read what's written on it, man. And
Oh,
amazing. From the Kaaba to their feet, they're almost touching it by their shoes, man. That is a huge crime. That's a no in Islam. This is supposed to be touched and with reverence, not to be no otherwise. One more time. No, one more, man.
no.
No, I cannot read it. I cannot read it. I cannot read. I just can you make it big. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. I almost, yep. What is written there is MashaAllah, MashaAllah. I can't see a word, man. I can't understand. Maybe if Yusuf is here, he knows what's written on it. He can figure it out. But can you imagine their shoes are on the top of the covering of the Kaaba? That is a no, man. I can't believe it. It's like all the Muslims of America, those who run for office, they all swear on the Quran, okay? And it is so big deal for the Muslims. They're celebrating, swear on the Quran. But what they're not realizing, they're putting their left hand on the Quran and the right hand up in the air. And the left hand, which you use for, you know what, on the Quran. Man, I can't believe it. What's wrong with the Muslims today, man? Here is the
Yeah,
covering of the Kaaba on the floor. MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
one is to
Well,
wonder. And who is this metaphysical joker? This name is familiar. And what are you trying to say, Mr. Metaphysical Joker? Do you have a point to make? Are you unhappy that Mr. Epstein seemed to be very interested in a piece of Islam's holiest relics for his mosque on his little pedo island?
did,
In fact,
did
he was
he,
probably trying to recreate Muhammad's paradise. You never know.
does not know how to spell my name? But that's okay. Here is the deal.
And then he
Was he
says no
using
error. What is exactly, Mr. Metaphysical? I'm going to give you one opportunity to explain yourself. Just one. Make it count. Sorry, Usama?
did he use only the covering of the Kaaba on the floor, or he use it in his beds too? Because I mean, he must have it as a cover on the bed so he can enjoy the activities on the right fabric, on the right beliefs, on the right religion.
Yep,
Type it.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, at least so Muhammad, sorry, so not Muhammad, sorry, Muhammad Epstein. I was trying to call him there for a second, but
You confused
yeah.
Jeffrey with Muhammad. No, no,
But
come
apparently
on, man.
he's following the right religion. So therefore they need to revere him. You know. Yeah. So anyway, so today what are we talking about? We are talking about chapter 18, the
The green,
story of Al
the green.
Qadar, the Green Prophet. JC, what makes you join us? Why are you crazy enough to come and hang out and talk about this topic?
Listen. You need to encourage him, not to discourage him. Please stay with us, JC. We love you, man. Go ahead, brother.
Well, first of all, to give Lloyd some moral support, I think after 47 episodes is good. And chapter 18 is a very interesting one because no one knows what it means. Uh,
No one knows. Someone's asking, is there any evidence of Epstein having connections with Qatar? Well, okay, so here's 1,806 results in the available Epstein files.
Oh my world.
So chairman of the board, Qatar Finance House. So yeah.
Do you mean there were Muslims coming from Qatar to visit his island too?
I have discussed this with the Qatari Prime Minister, the CEO of Qatar Holdings. I don't know, there's a lot of mention of Qatar here. So I'm going to guess yes, there must have been some kind of relationship between him and Qatar.
Maybe it's just
Qatar.
business, man. No. I don't think it was like activities like his activities. This
Yeah,
is
I'd say he was involved with everything and anything. I mean, the thing is, look, you can say that, for instance, Harry Potter is in the Epstein files, but maybe he said, "Hey, I like the books. I bought them." That doesn't mean anything bad. It just means he mentioned them. It doesn't mean anything. Yeah.
But do you think he was influenced by the teaching of the Quran concerning to sexuality, or it just happened coincidence?
I think he and Muhammad were both influenced by the same spirit, the same lack of morality.
Oh my
So
world, my world, my world. All right, you know what's amazing about that chapter 18? Guess where we read about chapter 18, Alexander the Great in the Quran. Chapter 18 is that's where Moses mentioned also there. I can't remember where's the story green come from. Let me look here. Al Khadr.
Yeah, chapter
Al-Khayr.
18 is odd because it has like three stories like together. One
Is
is
the
Al-Qadr,
cave?
the other one is yes, the sleepers in the cave, and Moses
Moses.
encountering this guy who teaches him stuff.
So it is amazing that Quran chapter 18 fit perfect with the number of the chapter of my book. What is the chance? This is a miracle, proves that the Quran is the word of Allah. 18, number 18. You see?
Okay, that's I'm happy. I think.
You're not happy. You're so full of it, Lloyd. I know you're not very happy to just to be right now.
Okay, well,
Sitting.
so we're discussing. So today we're talking about chapter 18 of the Quran, the story of Al-Qadar, the green prophet. Now, of course, he would have been Jewish because all of the prophets are Jewish. And even Quran says that the gift of prophecy was given to the Jews. It didn't say it was given to the Arabs, it was given to the Jews. And a prophet was sent to every people, including the Chinese, so they must have been Chinese Jews. And but now we're talking about a prophet known as the green
Yeah,
prophet.
it is. It is 18 verse 60. I cannot believe it. What is the chance that the number of the chapter of my book perfectly match with the green in Quran chapter 18 in the Quran? That's like a
Okay,
miracle.
so
MashaAllah.
I fish in a tie, yes and no. Look, I fish in a tie. Can we please stick to the topic of the discussion? We had Abraha on, we had an expert on Abraha on a couple of weeks ago. We covered this topic at length. We had a panel. He's done
Mhm.
extensive research. He's been featured in a number of channels. If you're interested, you're welcome to look at the Abraha channels. But when I'm talking about vegetables, it's a distraction to actually come on and say, hey, can we talk about my favorite bicycles? I have a fetish about bicycles. So can you please disrupt what you're doing, talking about fresh fruits, and can we now talk about bicycles? Okay. So this is unrelated. It is not relevant to what we're discussing here now today. Please do understand that. Okay.
I'm
So
ready.
Ibn Kathir introduces the story of the green prophet by stating that this was the man that Moses traveled to seek knowledge from. What? As Allah
You have
narrated in their news, the book of the cave in Quran 18. Yeah, I remember the chapter, the book of the cave. That's chapter 3, but in the subscription Bible, right? You pay a subscription and they send you extra chapters from a publisher in Damascus every month, right? That's the
listen. It's amazing that Muslim scholars tell us there are five great prophets. Okay, Adam, Abraham, Moses, Muhammad, Jesus, and Muhammad. Okay, these are five. But somehow Moses, that great prophet, are gonna learn from another guy who the Quran did not give any credit or anything. I mean, nobody gave the green prophet any reward for his high knowledge, for his great access to the knowledge of Allah, and he's teaching Moses. So if the green is teaching Moses and Moses is just a student, don't you think we should have him as one of the top prophets of Islam, Brother Lloyd?
yeah, yeah, no, because Moses. But who is this guy? He's his name, the Green. Is that his name, the
Well, you
Green?
find out later why he's called the green. First of all, because Muhammad did not know his real name. So he give you one of the great things about him, which is make things green. You touch
That
it turns
if you
green.
look on, the Green Man is actually. I mean, there was a movie about the Green Man recently, and it's an
No, no, no,
English.
no, 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 not that guy. No, 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 not that guy. No,
Okay,
no,
so right,
that's not the right one. No, that's
so
different.
so there are different opinions about the identity of the Green Man or the Green Prophet or his name and his genealogy. So who was Al-Qadar? This is not a biblical name. It means the green. But there is no character called the Green Prophet in the Bible. So you believe this is another made-up story? I mean, seriously, how can you reject the word of Allah, Usama?
First of all, when you read the writings of Ibn Kathir about the green, you will find that it's more of a myth. made up story than a reality. First of all, and we know from the Bible there is no the green prophet. That guy did not exist. And once again, like you always say, Lloyd, if you search for him, you will not find him exist, not in archaeology, not in, and there's no details about him. I mean, he appeared and disappeared in the same story of the Quran, and that was the end of it. I mean, we don't know where he come from. We don't know how old was he, how many years he lived, where did he die, what was his ministry. Did he ever? I mean, why there's no mention about him anywhere else besides that chapter of
Because
the Quran?
Allah felt it was best that you didn't know that.
Yeah, inshallah. Yeah, no.
Yep. So welcome. So hello to the new people.
If I
Yep. Please go on, JC.
Yeah, if I may, one of the main problems I've always had with this particular story is that the Quran seems to refer to Moses as he who spoke with God. So if there was one guy that you were going to make up a story of going and seeking knowledge of God, the one guy you wouldn't do that with is Moses because he is speaking with God directly. So I find it very bizarre that they created this story with Moses. It just doesn't fit with anybody else, pretty much. It's like, okay, they made it up, but why Moses?
Good point. Very good point, Jesse. Because if Moses was Kalim Allah, the one who speak was Allah directly, why you need another guy between Allah and Moses to teach him something? Especially
Mhm.
when you investigate the three lessons which Moses learned from the green. It's three stupidity. It's a three ridiculous made up stuff. The whole thing is made up. Okay.
We got one guest here. He was his personal trainer.
Yeah, very personal trainer. Yep.
Islam invented personal training. You know all the things we've discovered that Islam created. But Al-Qadar, according to Ibn Kathir,
Yeah,
you see,
well,
because he
look,
reads the Quran better than you do, Usama.
yeah.
His
Can
name
you
was
say
Ibn Adam.
I know, absolutely. Can you say Al Khadr? Kha, kha,
Al-Khadr.
Khadr.
Al-Khadr. Al-Khadr.
Yes, you got it. Yeah, that's exactly like when you spit Al Khadr, that is his name, which means the green, not Al Qadr.
Yeah,
Al Qadr
Al-Khadr.
is a fate.
Yeah. Basil just right. The green man is a universal mystical figure in most cultures related to nature and seasons and fertility. And that much is true. Yeah. So Al-Khadr
Yep,
was
you got
Ibn
it.
Adam, and he came from his backbone.
Oh, wait a minute. You see my backbone? Ah, I got a few more coming out. Okay. Never
Now,
mind.
I'm
Never mind.
African. We get a bone in the nose. I just took mine out now for the show, but I normally just have a bone in the nose. We get the bones in
Listen,
the front. Yeah.
listen, all the people of the earth came from the backbone of Muhammad. I'm sorry, of Adam, according to Muhammad. So why we make a big deal about Al Khadr? Why Ibn Kasir just pick up on that guy? Not you and I came from the backbone of Adam. Everybody, even JC came up from the backbone of Adam.
Um,
Okay. In the biology study, did we do that study you and I before? We did not. The
I think
miraculous
we did.
mistakes of
I
Muhammad.
think we
We
did.
did.
But
Okay. You have to understand that man, a baby is made of two fluid. The white, thick fluid, which come from the backbones of a man, and the soft yellow fluid, which come from the bones of the chest of the woman, or some said from her breast. Okay, one of the two. We do not know exactly. So every man ever have a baby is because the two fluid, the fluid from the backbone and the fluid of the yellow of the woman mixed together in the womb, and that's how we have the baby. It's a long study. We encourage people to go and watch these broadcasts, which we did, you and I.
I
some
think
time ago.
Allah needs to go to school. Okay. But besides that, so Al-Khadr will live until the Antichrist comes, and the green will call the Antichrist a liar. And the second opinion comes from
The-
Abu Hatim,
No,
who
no, no,
said
no, no,
that
no, no. Before you get the second opinion, I'm sorry. You cannot rush this. This is deep theology. So the green Al Khadr, start from Adam. He's alive today, and he will be here until the end of time. That guy is 6,000 years old. I don't know where he's living right now, what he's eating, but that is the first opinion. Now, do you believe in that, Lloyd?
look, I mean, who am I to question Allah?
No, you question Ibn Kathir, not Allah. This is nothing written in the Quran. This is made up by the scholar Ibn Kathir, who's quoting a bunch of other dummers who are also considered scholars in Islam.
How can we say that Ibn Kathir is wrong when he was inspired by Allah?
Well, he was never a prophet. He was never a messenger. He was never inspired. He's just a big fat liar. He lied at the Muslim people 600 years after Muhammad until today, and they love him.
But what if we call a Muslim now, a scholar, and we say, hey, just prove to us Al-Qadar was Ibn Adam. Just give us some evidence. I'm sure
It's
they
very
can prove
simple.
it.
He came from his backbone. That's the evidence.
Okay, well, there you go. See, the answer has been answered. So what more
Get
do you
now
need?
by the second opinion. I'm sorry, man. I hate to disturb you, but you cannot just skip it and move to the second and third and tenth opinion. We have to meditate on this and that knowledge, these facts. Go ahead, bro.
Right, and the second opinion came from Abu Hatim. Now everybody knows if Abu Hatim says something,
It must be true.
it must be true. Who said that Al-Khadr
You got it?
was the oldest living son of Adam, and his name was Hadron.
Khadrun.
So was the Large Hadron Collider from CERN in Switzerland. The Large Hadron Collider. And
Ibn
Ibn
Kabil,
Kabil, he meant Cain ibn Adam. That makes
you see, grandson. He moved from the direct from his backbone to the backbone of his grandson. Okay, I mean from his son, Adam's son Cain, and he is the son of Cain Khadrun. MashaAllah. Now I'm
we
learning,
are crowdsourcing solutions, and people are trying to figure this out. Okay, people are trying to solve this.
He looked close to that guy here, but not the other one you did before.
So yeah, people. Yeah, so everyone, yeah, so we're getting there. This is a physics problem. We're gonna solve this one.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. I'm learning.
So yeah, so
Hey,
Jason,
you know
can
what,
you help
Lloyd?
us out here?
I
This
just
makes
saw-
sense, right? Sorry.
Brother, a thought came to my heart right now on my mind. In my next editing or my book, I'm gonna add these pictures because it maybe encourage people to read more. And the kids will love my book, man. No Shrek, no Shrek, no Shrek. Get rid of Shrek, man. You make it like cartoon. I want to read the heavy stuff, the other ones, the one before. Yeah. Okay, good. You're good.
Right. So Ibn Ishaq said that when it was about time for Adam to die, he told his children that the flood was about to happen and advised them to carry his body with them in the ship. He told them where to bury him. When the flood took place, they carried his body with them. Then when they landed back on the land, Noah commanded his sons to bury Adam's body where he told them. So they said to their father, the earth is not safe, for on it is desolation. And then Noah then provoked them to bury Adam, telling them that Adam had called upon Allah, and whoever buried him would have long life. And they kept the body until the green arrived and took responsibility for burying him. And Allah gave him what he promised, which is that Allah gives life to whom he wills.
See,
So-
so now we know, Lloyd, why the Prophet Al-Khadr, the green, is still alive today. Because he buried his grandfather Adam, and the promise of Prophet Adam was given, whoever buried him will have long life. And he's only living for 6,000 years. But besides that, Islam is true, and Allah is the only God, and Muhammad is the Prophet of Allah. You don't need any more evidence than that. You got
So-
it, man.
So basically, now we know that Islam invented Coca-Cola because Coke adds life. Allah gave him a Coke and said, have a Coke and a smile. And the Coke added life. And there you go.
Does he have green Coca-Cola?
I don't know, man. We're trying to solve a mystery here.
Listen,
Okay.
it must be green, brother. If it is not green, I disagree. Green Coca-Cola, yeah. That black one, oh, good luck.
So the green buried Adam. Ibn Kathir said that Ibn Qatada said that the green man's name was Baliya or Elijah, Ibn Malcolm, Ibn Faleg, Ibn Abr, Ibn Shalih,
You
Ibn
see what's happening here?
Ibn Shem,
You see what's
Ibn
happening here?
Nuh.
You see
Yeah.
what's happening here? Now we know for sure it's a fairy tale. Why? Because if somebody told you 1 plus 1 equal 20, another one till 1 plus 1 equals 62, another one till 1 plus 1 equal 10,452, you know that that is a bad math. That does not make any sense. You cannot tell me all this information about who is that green al khadr, and each and every one of them is different than the other. One is a direct son of Adam, the other is a grandson of Adam, the other is a bunch of names, great, 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 great son of Adam. Make up your mind. Who is the green?
You know what? You know what? You're just jealous because you don't know who Ibn Faleh and Ibn Abd are, or Ibn Arfakshas. Excuse my French, whatever that was. JC,
It's a
just tell
bad
him who the
word.
people are.
It's a bad word in Arabic. Disregard that last word. Move on. Okay, next one.
JC, just correct this man, please. Please just put this man into the right
JC cannot
frame of-
lie. JC is not a liar.
I'm not. I'm very much not. This actually just reminds me, I'm doing a series just going through single verses that are problematic and just looking at tafsirs. And they are all like this. These guys inherited a book that they couldn't understand. So every single tafsir writer says, it is said that it means this thing. And it is also said it means this thing. And it is also said is that thing. So in the end, you have like 20 stories. And it's funny, when you go to a Muslim, he will tell you one thing. And that is the story that they will swear by. But when you go to the interpretations, there will be countless options for every single verse. These guys were trying to explain something and making it divine. So, yeah, it's very silly.
You see, my book is much better than JC's speech. You think my book gave headache? What I heard from JC now give me a split of my head. I already have broken crack. You see the crack here? Equal to the crack on the moon, which Muhammad did when he split the moon, man. See?
You know,
You're suffering. I feel your pain, man. I'm sorry.
therefore,
Therefore,
we can say he was not Ibn Adam or Ibn Cain. Ibn Kathir said, however, that Ishmael ibn Owais said he was Al-Muammar al-Gaddafi, or just Al-Muammar, Ibn Malik, Ibn Abdullah, Ibn Nasar, Ibn Lizard. See? Ibn Lizard. Then Ibn Kathir also stated that others said that he was Khadrun, Ibn Amyail, Ibn Alifs, Ibn Alis, Ibn Ishaq, Ibn Ibrahim.
you know, there is a cartoon. It's called Veggie Tales, which you see cucumber and tomato and the carrot. Everybody talk, and I love the song in that cartoon, which is go Veggie Tales, Veggie Tales, Veggie Tales. But I change it from Veggie Tales to fairy tales, fairy tales, fairy tales, fairy tales, fairy tales. That is Islam. It is
How?
it is the belief of fairy tales. It's a myth.
How
And
can you
welcome
take this
to the
seriously.
great
This
scholar-
is ridiculous. Ibn Kathir
Listen.
stated that it was said that he was Jeremiah, Ibn Khalqiyah, and Allah knows. So he could be Moses, or he could be Popeye the
Anybody.
Sailor Man, or he
Listen.
could be a shoe shine guy called Jimmy from 4th Street in Philly, but Allah knows best. So it could be Moses, but it
He
could be
related to my family. Listen. You're missing a very important sign here, and you're going on and on and on, make fun of Ibn Kathir. Ibn Kathir also said that it was said the green was Ibn Pharaoh, my family, my ancestors. I am the Pharaoh's son. You understand that? Why skip that? Huh? Huh? Give me a reason. Except you're jealous because you're not Egyptian like me. Pharaohs, my people. Pharaoh, Pharaoh. Let my people go. Okay, go ahead.
okay. Ibn Kathir stated it was said that the green was Ibn Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, in Moses's. So this guy is doing a lot of work here. The guy is what? So far, he's been the postman, the baker, he's been the Pharaoh, he's been Moses, he's been Jeremiah, Ibn Khalqiyah, Ibn al-Fakshas.
Everybody. It could be anybody. It could be anybody. It could be our neighbors, the cousin the cousin of my great grandfather. Anyway, but here's the deal: when you talk to Muslims, and they quote you Ibn Kathir, stop. Say, time out, time out. You believe Ibn Kathir is a scholar? Yeah. And you quoting him? Yeah. You're stupid. Just look at the Muslim in their face and say, you are stupid. If you listen to a drunk guy, a guy who's really out of it, drunk, and he said to you, I just have good time with your wife, and I slept. You divorce your wife because a drunk in the street is not worse, a garbage in the street. Make a claim that he had sex with your wife. Will you divorce your wife because you trust that drunk? That is even easier than to believe Ibn Kathir to be a scholar. He's not a scholar. He's like the rest of those Muslims called scholars, and they're all bunch of stupid dummers. Dummers. This is a word you need to add in your dictionary. No Islamic scholars. Islam cannot be understood by Islam. Stop following the garbage lies of Ibn Kathir, Al-Tabari, Al-Qurtubi, Al-Jalalain, Al-Baghdawi, Al-Damakhshari, all these names. They're bunches. You are stupid to quote Ibn Kathir. Like you're stupid to quote Ibn Abbas. Imagine, when all these scholars quote Ibn Abbas, the cousin of Muhammad, I cannot help but to laugh. Why? Because Ibn Abbas does the same thing here. He gives you 10 different opinions about something, and he does not know jack about what he's talking about. And he is Hebr al-Ummah, means the ink of the nation. So if you're going to write something down, you need ink. The ink is Ibn Abbas. And that ink is stupid. Go ahead, bro. I'm sorry.
Napoleon says that Zayd ibn Thabit, he learned, was 11 years old when he was a scribe. So yeah, maybe someone needs to look into that, because if that's true, then that's another problem. JC, do you have any comments here? Because I mean, I'm finding it a little hard to believe this story.
We have to stop the story.
Well, this doesn't surprise me, because all of the tafsirs that I have seen so far, they are like that. They will all claim to be relating all the way back, certainly to Ibn Abbas, but they all contradict each other. It looks like we see how Islam was created, when at one point they have to decide that they have a faith, and everybody has been telling stories. They don't go back to a guy who gave this book to the world and then explained it. No, this is like they had this book and people made up stories for it, and these people are putting it together. But the tafsirs are all like this. Something interesting is that when we go to the English translations, very often with Ibn Kathir, you will have only one version and that's it. But then the Arabic one, which is what Usama researches, has all of these different contradictory stories. But most of the people who don't speak Arabic, they are not aware of that, because the English translation will have one little section only. So they will think that Ibn Kathir is telling one story about every single passage, and that's not the case.
Yeah, this is crazy. Ibn Kathir stated, it was said that the green was Ibn Pharaoh. So he could be Pharaoh, but he could also be Moses. He could be Jeremiah, but he could be also about 30 other people. And
see, he did not just say Ibn Pharaoh and stop. The king of Egypt. It's like, do we have any Pharaoh who was never a king of Egypt? Are you telling me Pharaoh is the name of the king? Pharaoh is just a title. Every Egyptian is a Pharaoh. I'm a Pharaoh. But he was the king of Egypt. Do you know how many kings in Egypt were named Pharaoh? All of them. So that shows you the man does not know jack about what he's talking about.
Yeah. Hey, Thunderous, welcome. I've sent you a link to the stream if you want to pop in. Welcome. So, Ibn Kathir said, right, that he was Ibn Malik, the brother of Elijah. Hold on. This guy is freaking Jeremiah, Pharaoh, Ibn Malik, the brother of Elijah. He's 40 other people, and he was born before Dhul Qarnayn, Alexander the Great.
Yep.
And he was one of those who believed in Abraham and who emigrated. It was also said he was a prophet in the time of Bastesp ibn Harasp. Now, seriously, guys, look, we all know that Bastesp, he was the guy that did the thing, right? And then Ibn Harasp, who was the other guy that said, no, you can't do the thing. And and then the two of them argued, and then what happened was the thing didn't happen because, and then I mean these are two very famous characters, right? We've all heard of Ibn
Yes.
Bastesp and Ibn Harasp. So just that, but how can you be Ibn Bastesp as well as Pharaoh, as well as Ibn Malik, the brother of Elijah, if you're also Jeremiah, and you Ibn Amyail and Ibn Alifs and Ibn Alis and Ibn Ishaq and Ibn Abraham and Ibn Khadron and Ibn Lazd and Ibn Nisar and what the fuck's going on here? Please, someone help me.
You
Actually,
know
we
what, Lloyd?
consider
Lloyd, listen.
all of this.
Go ahead, GC. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. So, and when we see all of this, it's the interesting thing is we see that according to the tafsirs, they have no idea what the story is about, who the guy was, or all of that. But if you speak with Muslims, they will tell you 100% the story happened because it's in the Quran, and it's like, okay, can we have the explanation? Then you go to the tafsirs and you have this nonsense, and it's like, but if the explanations are nonsense, the story in the Quran is nonsense. No, the story in the Quran is perfectly fine and it's very clear.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
this complete contradiction.
And Lloyd, you need to send a letter to thank my editors. One of them is in heaven, so you need to just say a simple prayer for his family. Those who remove literally 180 pages out of my book because they thought that is too much, and you don't need all that. This is too much, and they cut literally 100. Imagine if you're reading another 2 pages of the same thing you're reading right now. I do not know how you're gonna feel like.
So I think we get the point, and I appreciate these people. And I he's probably actually living in the witness protection program. He's probably just like, just like I need to do to save my own sanity from this. I mean, like, I gotta ask, who in the heck is Ibn Harasp? Who is? Okay,
And the funny
fine.
thing is, you want to hear the truth? Ibn Kasir never met any of these people. He came literally 600 years after all these names he's naming. So how in the world that he knew nothing about Al-Khadr? He knows nothing about those people he's mentioned their name, and that was it.
Well,
See, and you once again, I was upset when my editors removed the extra information I had. And they said, Usama, this is too much. I said, no, don't take these 2 pages off. It's very important. It's Ibn Kasir writing. They said,
I
Usama, how
appreciate
about
those
if we
people.
summarize it
I am
and say
probably the
there are
same.
more, listen, there are many more opinions, and that will help your friend Lloyd, who's going to be reading that book 15 years in the future, 16. So he will be thankful to God that we cut these 2 pages off. So I hope you're happy. Are you happy now, Lloyd?
Yeah, I am. Look, you know what? I'll take a win where I get one. And Ower says, and people will proclaim that the New Testament is untrue because there are 2 versions of Jesus' family list, or 1 name difference in the list of apostles in the gospel. Yet this garbage is supposed to be true. Yeah,
But
because
let's answer this, brother Lloyd, if you don't mind. The 2 list of names, the 2 genealogy of our Lord and our Savior Jesus Christ are both accurate. One, according to Joseph, whom people thought he is his father, and the other is according to his mother. So obviously, these are not contradiction in the Bible. It's you look at a man, have a father, and have a mother. The genealogy of my mother is completely different than my father until you get to David, which they both go back to David. He was not the son of Joseph, but he was the son of God. But people thought that he is the son of Joseph. That is the 2 list of names we read in the Bible. Perfectly right. They're both right.
yeah, so yeah, and of course there are many more opinions, but look, I think we've had like about 30 or 40 already. So how about we just put this behind us? As I always say, one day we will look back on this moment. We will go very quiet and then change the subject.
Amen. But that is my proof that this is a made-up story by Muhammad. You cannot talk about a great prophet who taught one of the 5 great prophets, Moses, and you don't know jack about who is he. It doesn't make any sense. Okay? We know everything about every name of every character in the Bible. We can back it up by the genealogy, but you go to Al-Khadr and you don't know who the guy is.
Yeah. and he was there in the time of Dhul Qarnayn. Now, when did Alexander the Great live? What year?
300 years before Christ.
So he was passing by a monastery that looked upon the monk and taught him. Yeah. So he went to a monastery, and then he taught the monk Islam in the monastery. So there were monasteries 300 BC, and Islam was
Before
around.
Jesus. Yeah, before Jesus. That does
What
not make
the
any
heck?
sense. That makes no sense.
Yeah,
It's all-
this
it's all
was
made up.
this was wild bush Islam before it was tamed by Muhammad. It was just kind of a random free roaming, like free range Islam. This was free range Islam. That back then it was.
Sure.
It's a new kind of like like a gain of function Islam or something. It's something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So one must ask questions: was the Green Man a Jew, a Muslim, or a Christian? Right. So how could this event have occurred thousands of years prior to the existence of Christians, Muslims, monks, and monasteries? Yes, Thunderous. I mean, why would you want to take your sanity in your own hands and join us today? Welcome.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi, Sandros.
Everyone
well,
okay? Thank you
Yeah,
for
we
inviting
can hear you.
Thank you for inviting me, Lloyd, and hello to everybody on the panel and in the chat.
Yeah. So Thunderous, is this convincing you to go back to Islam?
Revert.
Now, why would I want to regress backwards and go to an ideology that is utterly clueless about everything that's ever happened
This guy just
pre-Islamic?
gave 40 names for the Green Man. He gave us at least 40 names for the same guy. If he can pinpoint it with such accuracy, why would we not want to believe this story?
Well, that's the same as like Dhul Qarnayn, isn't it? Though it's where Muhammad gives a name or Allah gives a name, and then they have to kind of like find someone in history in order to fit the pattern of what Muhammad or Allah has claimed. So this comes as no surprise. It's just a mere reinvention that whoever compiled the Quran extrapolated for certain peoples from history, and they try and mold it in the image of Muhammad.
Yeah. I mean, clearly these are all composites, and they're just making it up as they're going. Yeah. So Ibn Kathir stated that Abu Zara. Now we know when Abu Zara says something, we need to believe him. He wrote in his book, The Proof of the Prophethood, that Ibn Abbas said that Muhammad said, in the night when Muhammad was taken to the seventh heaven, he smelled a good smell. So he asked Jibril what the good smell was, and Jibrish answered, this was the smell of the wind from the tomb of the hairdresser, her daughter, and her husband. He continued by saying it was the start of the green and that he was from the honorable of the children of Israel.
MashaAllah.
Holy hairdresser, someone help me out here, please. I'm losing my mind.
I can't. I just wrote it. I know nothing about it.
And actually, I guess something based on as well what Thundros said about Dhul Qarnayn. But now this green guy, am I right in thinking that he's not mentioned by name in the Quran, and the Quran only says messenger or something like that? So the name is not in the Quran?
No name. No.
No name. Great.
One of
Very
the
clear.
greats. One of the great. What he said in the Quran, man. One I'm gonna give it to you in a minute. It was one of the servant of Allah. فوجد عبدا من عبادنا. So he found a servant from our servant. He was one of the servant of Allah. That's all. That's his name. That's his title.
So by the way, Thunderous, meet Usama, meet Thunderous. He's an awesome guy. He's in the UK, and he's a former Muslim, and he left Islam. And yeah, he and I do a regular show once a month as well. We talk about the UK, and I think, JC, have you guys met?
Yeah, we met once before.
Great. Yeah, hairdresser could refer to the woman that put oil on the head of Jesus, right?
I think when you look at all these little composites, as Usama commented on previously, what you're looking at is something that's been extrapolated, say, the Bible at some point, but the authors of the Quran don't know where the origin of the story is. For instance, if you look at, say, the hadith that talks about 124,000 prophets, you have to ask, where did 124,000 come from? Well, that could be a misunderstanding of, say, the book of Revelation and 144,000. You see, but they've got the number wrong, or they've deliberately reduced the number in order to make the Bible, to give the Quran some kind of more authority, because it's relaying back to some figure that people may be familiar with as far as the Bible is concerned. But because they don't know the history of the story, or the history of the verse, or the history of that particular part of the narrative, that's where the Christians and the Jews rejected Muhammad, because they were aware that they're talking to a guy who was utterly clueless, who was pretty much, if he did exist, going along with the narrative that he existed, was pretty much fabricating everything ad hoc.
Right. And there's a troll in the chat, some guy called a damn seeker, and he's saying, "Mashallah, there is no ex-Muslim in the world. This is all a lie."
You don't know how to read English, man. It's not Adam, it is Adam. Adam, not
Okay, Adam. Yeah, we just read about him now in this book about that. So
the
no
backbone.
one leaves Islam. Islam is the perfect religion, this guy tells us. Where do these people get these ideas? One has to know, one has to ask.
Because it is denial. They don't have the reality of the number of the, not thousands, but millions of Muslims who are no longer following Muhammad. So if you deny that he was a Muslim, you're a liar. Muslims never leave Islam. We got Christians coming to Islam, Jews coming to Islam, ISIS coming to Islam. We got two big mosques in America now who are gay and lesbian. They're still gay and lesbian, but they're Muslims and so on. So, but you cannot tell me there is a Muslim ever leave Islam. That does not make any sense. You're making this up.
Yeah, but you've got to understand, Osama. See, no one can ever leave Islam other than the tsunami or the avalanche that the scholars are already familiar with, as far as the 27% of Muslims that are born into Islam in America are atheists by the time they reach their 20s.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And I don't think that's why they're so threatened, so afraid, so terrorized to melt in the melting pot of America. They think if they separate themselves from America, even those that live in America, they can keep Islam in the family. When in reality, many of their own children are not believing Islam anymore. It's just a comedy. It's a comedy.
I totally agree with that. I think if you were to take a poll on ex-Muslims and ask how many of the people that you brought up in your community actually believe in Islam, I think pretty much most of them would turn around and say they're not Muslim. They're only Muslim as far as they're Muslim by rote. They're only Muslim as far as given an identity is concerned. The reality is their life course doesn't befit that. They fornicate, they smoke cigarettes, they do drugs, they're into crimes and such. So they're basically not Muslim. It's just like what I call gang mentality. Like if you're in America in the 70s, it would have been the blood. You're either a blood or a Crip. So in a theistic worldview, you're either a Muslim or a Christian or a Jew. So it's just an identity moniker. But the thing is, you see, whereas there is no repercussion from, say, Judaism, Christianity, or any other religious identity, that if you leave the identity, that there will be some form of violence or ostracism. With Islam, there comes the very real threat of, if you leave the ideology, we know what the repercussions are. But that's what happens in an Islamic world. Slowly, it's happening in secular lands where Islam is manifest, but at the very minimum, it is emotional and psychological blackmail to say within the faith. So they are basically atheists, or they accept another ideology, but they're not outwardly expressing or exposing that.
Even the Muslims who believe in Islam. Last time Hatun was here, and she and I went to the mosque here in Cape Girardeau, and there were roughly around maybe 25, 30 young college kids in the mosque. And when we talked with them before and after, they don't speak Arabic, but they were in the mosque praying in the Arabic language. So here is the Muslim believers in the mosque do not know jack about Islam. That's Adam Seeker's words, by the way. So anyway,
But dude, I have that problem all the time with the Muslims that I speak to, where they turn around and say, well, you never really was, blah, blah, blah. So I'll say something like, Subhanahu wa bihamdika with the barakas maka with the Allah jilaka wa la ilaha illallah auzubillahi minash shaitan rajim, blah, blah, blah. So I can recite the whole namaz. And I'll just turn and say to them, well, can you translate that for me now? Because you're an Arabic speaker. And they're utterly clueless. Utterly clueless every single time. And then they're the ones that are trying to turn around and say to you, well, you were never really Muslim. And I know the namaz more than they do. And I left the ideology more than 40 years ago.
Man. But let me to go back to our book here, let me give you one more story.
Yeah, well, look, I'm very concerned about the wind from the tomb of the hairdresser. I mean, look, I went to Sunday school, okay, and I didn't learn this there. So why was this knowledge denied from me that there's wind from the tomb of the hairdresser?
Well, you need to. I can explain to you later in a deeper level. But when one was the time we went to a mosque in Ohio, and brother Paul Sutcliffe was with me, and I and a bunch of other guys were there. Me and Sister Hatun at the same time also, she was with me inside the mosque. We came outside, we talked to the people outside, and that imam of the mosque was talking to Paul Sutcliffe. Paul Sutcliffe is a very smart guy. I mean, he's very deep. He's a teacher, and he knows Islam very well. So the imam told him, you cannot tell me you know anything about Islam because you don't know Arabic. You must know Arabic. Without Arabic, there's zero chance you know anything about Islam. Who is saying that? The imam of the mosque. At that time, Paul shouted from across the street, Usama, Usama. So I ran to see what's happening. So I'm talking to him and to this other guy. I didn't even know why. God is my witness. The Lord make me speak in the Arabic language, saying nonsense like, oh, I hope you guys having a great time in this beautiful day with all this one. And then the imam smiled and he laughed and he walked back 2 steps and he said to Paul and to me, I don't speak Arabic. Imagine, he just told Paul, you cannot do anything with Islam. You cannot speak on Islam. You're not a scholar in Islam unless you know Arabic. And the imam of the mosque, a Pakistani Muslim imam, does not know Arabic. End of story. Good done.
But if the definition of being a Muslim is that you have to speak Arabic and understand Arabic, well, that will make Islam the smallest religion on the planet.
Sure.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you for the donation. That was very, very kind. Thank you very much to Ave Maria. Really appreciate it. S. Dirali says, this text sounds like it was written by an illiterate second language English speaker. Language is very weak. What is the source? The Quran, of course. Like, hello. The Quran and the Tafsir. Just so you know, glad we can answer that.
This comes directly from Ibn Kathir book, Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya, the beginning and the end, the story of the prophets. As a matter of fact, if you read the Ibid in the bottom, you see exactly what they were quoting this stuff from.
So this is the hairdressing prophet. I got it now. The hairdressing, thank you, Scrunchy. And it should be, we should also, he continued by saying it was the start of the green and that he was from the honorable of the children of Israel. And welcome, Adam Seeker. Hello, how are you doing?
Hello, brother. You guys are so mean to me. I sent a message in the live chat. Nobody leaves Islam. Nobody. The problem is anybody who gets an IQ over 70 starts to leave Islam. So we need to kick you below 70.
So
Daniel Happy proved it. He said, if you get high IQ, you will leave Islam. So I'm telling you, nobody leaves Islam.
MashaAllah.
Nobody.
Yep.
Below 70 IQ, nobody leaves Islam. Hi, brother. You are a ex-Muslim. There is nothing called ex-Muslim. I was told by the Sheikh day before yesterday in my Urdu live stream, nobody leaves Islam. You guys are all liars. I was like, okay. We are all liars. Nobody leaves Islam. The first ex-Muslim was Saad bin Abi Sarah, who was the Katib Quran, the author, the writer of the Quran. He's like, he was not an ex-Muslim. He was a murtad. I was like, oh yeah, your IQ is below 70. If I say it in Arabic, who did the artad, so who did the action of artad. So yeah, if I say it in Arabic, then I'm valid. If I say it in English, then I'm not valid. That is perfect. Below 70 IQ, you will be a Muslim. Always.
What? Yeah. Do not love the one who doesn't love Allah. If they can leave Allah, they will leave you. So,
That's a great wisdom. What chapter in the Quran? Is that a verse in the Quran?
it's
Chapter
got
number 60, verse number 4.
Oh,
Chapter number 60, verse number 4. That is the verse which actually. So they are doing different translation for it. It is the loving for the sake of Allah and hating for the sake of Allah. And this is the verse actually translated with sugar coating. Al-bara wal al-bara wal
Al-wala
I forgot.
al-wala
Al-wala
wal-bara.
wal-bara. Al-wala wal-bara. Yeah.
But can I
So,
just say on this statement by Dr. Bilal's post, that's reminiscent, almost like a very uncanny twisting of what Jesus says. I think it's in Matthew 10, where Jesus turns around and says, I've not come to put peace, not peace, but a sword, for I've come to divide a mother against a daughter and a father against a son. He who has love for me, I'll confess them to my Father. He who abandons me, I will abandon them before my Father. So this seems to me, and that's obviously for a righteous reason, because the truth must come first. But this at best is nothing more than a plagiarism or a twisting of what has already been revealed. So it's an inverse version we already know is from truth.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's a very important piece of information I need to share, that the green smelled the wind from the tomb of the hairdresser, but there's more. Jibril, the angel gibberish, went to tell Muhammad that when the green became mature, his father married him to a woman and he taught her Islam. And he told her not to tell anyone. So he was the first Muslim then. Okay, great. We've got a different,
Yeah, by the way,
another first Muslim.
you are
But the
talking about
green-
Prophet Green. You know why
Yeah.
he's called Prophet Green?
coming
Look,
up. We have
man,
not covered yet, Adam. It's coming up.
But the green was not one of those who have sex with women. What that leads us to the
He
women
was doing Wi-Fi, babies. That was
then
the
with
invention
who?
of Wi-Fi.
So he divorced her because he I don't swing that way, doll. Right? So as they say, homo don't Islam, and he told her not to tell anyone, and then he divorced her as well. So guys, praise be to Allah.
Yep.
The only green I know that gets mature around here is the green that gets mature and then ends up in a Rizzler and smoked. Is that what it's referring to?
Oh God, I have no idea what's going on here anymore. This makes no sense.
Sounds like somebody's been smoking something, mate.
Guys, if you give Lloyd another 3 minutes, he will clear everything. The story will be clear like mud. But keep going, Lloyd. You're gonna
I
get
don't like that. I don't like that, because at the end of the day, I need to know why he's called Green.
well
Why is he called
We're
Green?
going to work on this.
coming up. I
Kept her
promise.
Islamic faith secret, but the other one told